Okay, so let's get started. So what I will be doing in this video is that I will be programming an AI app. And in that case, I won't be using ChatGPT as my guide, despite maybe asking some questions. But which or what video I will be doing is basically, let's quickly go to YouTube. And I have, you see there, a lot of how to build a learning management system. That's how I find the video, to be honest. So let's see if this guy, like Code with Antonio. So these are the videos. And there is one video, build a SaaS AI platform with Next.js 13, React, Tailwind, Prisma, and Stripe. And this is the video that I will be watching and at the same time doing, basically performing what this video is saying. I won't be sharing this and having it run on my computer because as I have my Microsoft, my microphone in the computer pulled in or like plugged in, I wouldn't understand anything. So for that reason, it is running on my iPad. And you will hear the voice of this guy from time to time, basically for all these, I think 5 or 6 hours, as long as this video is long. And for that reason, yeah, we will just see how it goes along. And if you find it a bit more difficult to follow this video, I will also do additional videos where I will then share with you the results and what I have been learning while basically performing and running through the tutorial. But for now, just, like learning how it's done and learning and showing you how it's done and how it's working and basically if it will be working, because again, I'm not a programmer. I have ChatGPT that I can use to ask some questions. And if it all goes well, then I also have my own app that is helping me to code. But for that reason, I first need to build the app. And that's what we will be doing. So I will be building the app and with the help of the video and the tutorial. And then hopefully at the end, we will have a fully functional app that also has, it basically has, I think, 4 or 5 different AI services, as well as having Stripe, so a payment system, so that then you can basically also pay for that. But yeah, I would say let's get started and building this app. So we will close this, the YouTube. And what I already done is that I have here my Visual Studio Code. Now it's already opened or like created a file, or like not a file, I created a folder already. I created a folder in my, basically me as a user. So we don't go into details here because that's my personal documents then behind there. But I have this folder and it's called AI SaaS App Project. And you see there is nothing in there yet. And we have it open here in Index Explorer and we can now get started. So let's start the video and learn from this guy what we have to do in the first steps. And as I just check the video that he has, the tutorial is like 5 hours and 33 minutes long and 29 seconds. So it will probably take us roughly 10 hours to 15 hours to build that up. But let's get started.
And let's set up our application. I'm going to follow the Shadcn.
So it wants us to open something that's called UI.Shadcn. Oh, we have to go this closer. So it's ui.shadcn.com/docs/installation.next. So I think that's that we download Next.js. So let's look and hear what this guy is saying next.
UI setup instructions. You can find those by Googling Shadcn UI, clicking on the website right here, and just go ahead into the documentation and click installation. After that, you have to select Next.js or whatever you are using. But in this tutorial, we're going to be using Next.js. So that's why I have this open right here. So the first command we have to run is the create next app command. This command is actually not related to Shadcn UI. This is the next13 command, but it is written in this tutorial because this is a setup for Next.js. So here on the left side, I have my Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open my terminal.
Okay, so now this guy tells us that we have to open our terminal. So in Visual Studio Code, terminal again was, okay, here's terminal, so new terminal. Ah, look, that wasn't that difficult. And we're in PowerShell, so now we can start writing here. And what we can put in, okay, so it's already in this project, that's really good. And now it tells us what we have to write.
And I'm going to go ahead and write npx script.
Okay, so we write npx and then create next app, and then apparently
dash next dash app at latest.
Okay, at latest, and then like these two thingies here, I think.
And I'm going to name this AI SaaS.
Ah, look, we have latest, and then we have to give it a name, AI SaaS App. I think this will be enough.
You can name it whatever you want, and go ahead and give it the following flags. Dash dash TypeScript.
And then we have to do dash dash TypeScript. I hope that this is the right dash dash. That looks like different. Let's see if we need to. No, I think this is correct. Dash dash TypeScript.
Dash dash Tailwind.
Dash dash Tailwind. Now we have to put this directly behind. Tailwind.
And dash dash slint like that.
And dash dash slint.
Or you can simply press copy here and select npm. But I'm going to write it out so you can clearly see what I'm doing. And now you can go ahead and press enter.
Okay, now we press enter. Let's see what happens. Not so much apparently. Maybe we have to put something else in because here we have node. Okay, this definitely is not working. So let's see. See, this is as quickly as not working. That's like not great. Command prompt. What do we have with command prompt? Okay, so here with the next, it just says basically copy paste npm. So now we copy pasted this. So let's go back and put this in. Now it's called my app. See, there's already the problem. So apparently we need ChatGPT. This is like so bad. We are already completely lost in this. Like, I'm wondering, it says in this video that this guy shows that we don't have here like PowerShell or CMD, but it basically says ZSH. So I will ask ChatGPT what ZSH is. Okay. So I am trying to create an AI app, and I am following a tutorial of this one guy. And he asks to install next.js, and he puts the following command into the terminal. We call it ZSH in Visual Studio Code. And then we put the code now in there. So we do copy paste with the NumPy. So code. But if I do that, no, not if, but when I do that, I get an error message. Can you help me debug it and help me to have it run on my computer? It's a Windows computer. Okay, so let's see what comes. See, now I said we won't use any ChatGPT, only for questions, and now just for the first 2 minutes we already have questions. So that's interesting. Okay, so certainly I would be happy to help you with your issue regarding the installation of Next.js. The command you're using seems correct for initializing a Next.js project with TypeScript, Tailwind, CSS, and ESLint. However, to better assist, you'll need more information. Could you please share the exact error message you're receiving? This will give me a clearer idea of what might be going wrong. Have you installed Node.js on your Windows computer? Next.js requires Node.js to be installed. You can check if Node.js is installed and its version by running Node v in your terminal. Okay, maybe I haven't, because I have installed Node.js on my other project, but I haven't installed it on this. So let's do Node and then this v thingy and see what happens if we do this in Visual Studio Code. Okay, now we have this. So now let's do this code again to just see, if now it's working. Okay, so now we do, we put this here, we put this in here. Okay, it's loading, so let's see. Okay, this looks like so complicated, given that we just want to do something. Okay, so basically it says the error message you're encountering suggests that there's an issue with the Node package manager set up on your Windows computer. This error typically occurs when npm cannot find the required directory or file path. Here are some steps to troubleshoot and resolve this issue. Check if npm and Node.js are properly installed. Open your terminal and run Node.js. Check if Node.js is installed to see the version. So that's what we did, right? So we saw in Visual Code, so we don't have to do this again. Then run npm v to check if npm is installed and to see the version. If either is not installed or if there are issues with the version, consider reinstalling Node.js from the official website. Okay, so let's just run this piece and then see what happens. Okay, they're both installed. Clear npm. Sometimes clearing the npm cache can resolve these types of issues. Run the command npm clear clean force in your terminal. Okay, let's do that. Okay, then we do this whole npx thingy again. Okay, still an error. Check the npm global directory. The error suggests an issue with the npm global 1 npm configs prefix. Okay, so let's do this. App data roaming npm. So let's see what we are supposed to get here. This is really great. We are starting so oh, that's the wrong one. We are starting so easily to see the path of the global. It should typically be C users. Okay, let's see. C users Frede. Okay, that's my username, this weird one. Username, which is AI SaaS username. Okay, app data roaming npm. It's not okay. Reinstall. If the above steps don't resolve the issue, you might need to reinstall npm. This can be done by reinstalling Node.js. This includes npm. Okay, we might run the command new terminal instance. Sometimes simply restarting your terminal or using a new terminal instance can resolve path-related issues. Okay, so just terminal. We just do terminal, new terminal. We use PowerShell. We put in again this thingy here. Okay, let's still an error. What does it say? Okay. Okay, so we will just okay, so we will do this. So you see, we will need way longer, because if every kind of step takes that long, then it takes ages until we have our app programmed. But I think it is so important that we program the app, because if we program the app, then this allows us also to follow on with the project of better understanding how these apps are created. And then we have basically better understanding, okay, how to do a full stack app in a very easy way with the upvoting. Then we do the AI app. So we learn for the AI app even further how to build these whole full stack apps. And then based on that, we can better build our upvoting app in more detail with the tools that we learn for the AI app, as well as that we learn how to connect OpenAI and build these apps. And then there's also a second app that we can learn with these tutorials, which then we would be doing. And then I have some additional ideas of apps that I want to build. And I basically want to build an MVP until end of December for a startup and an idea that I do with a friend. So that's something else that then we will be doing to also, like share with you how we build this, at least for an MVP. And then obviously depends a bit like how in detail we have to do this. If, I can basically directly share you the code of how we do this, or if this is something that I can only share you the results and parts of the things that we do. But for now, we just check this, and I think we have a lot to do here before we're able to do this. So manually check the directory. So we go now to there and check if this exists. So now you see basically my folder structure, but I think that's fine. And then we need a npm. No, there is no npm here, right? Free the app roaming, so I don't see any npm folder here. And no. So it says, and check if the npm folder exists. If it doesn't, menu create a new folder named npm. So maybe this is then closing. So no new folder npm. So now we have a new folder. Great. We set npm's default to correct any permission issues for backup any global packages, npm list. Okay, let's first do this in. Okay, let's first check if this already works. If not, then we will do the next steps. So now, no, we're not using that one. What we want to do is use this. It can be that maybe npx is not working, but let's see. Ah, it seems we solved it. Okay, so now it says, here it basically says exactly the same. So in this, if you would now see the how do you say, the tutorial, it would basically show exactly the same. The only difference is that it doesn't show the 14.0.3 here, but instead it shows the 13.4.10. And it says, okay, to proceed. So I will quickly follow with the tutorial.
And I got a prompt that I need to install the newer version of Next app. So go ahead and just press yes if.
Okay, so we press yes.
This is the prompt you have. There's a chance you just don't get that prompt at all, and you immediately have this question right here. So the first thing it's asking us is whether we want to use the source directory. For that, select no.
Okay, source directory. I don't really know how to. I really don't know how to because I can't click on it or something. Okay. You typically select your choice using the arrow keys on your keyboard. Here's how you can do it. Use the up and down arrow keys on your keyboard to highlight your choice. In your case, you will toggle between no and yes. Once you've highlighted your desired option, for example, yes, press the enter key to confirm your selection. Okay, let's see that. So we have no, and it wants us to set no. Easy. Would you like...
For the app router, this is very important. You have to select yes.
Okay, we have to select yes, but there is yes, so that's fine.
For the import alias, you can select no. That is good.
Okay, here no.
Keep the default @ sign. And there we go. Now it's starting to install our application. So just wait a couple of seconds and you will have your app ready. After a couple of seconds, you're going to get a message similar to this, saying a success and that it has created a project called AI SaaS or whatever you named it in your command at this following location. So I'm going to click open right here and I'm going to select AI SaaS right here. And there we go. Now I'm inside of that folder.
Okay, so apparently it's still loading, so we have to wait until it says success. And for this app, it's still success. So maybe it wasn't necessarily necessary to do the AI SaaS app project in the beginning because we first needed to, basically do the terminal and upload this. So that's what we're currently doing. So we're basically waiting for this thingy to, load. And apparently it takes a bit longer. Cache miss. I hope this is not another problem that we have. And it just, is able to do this because otherwise I really don't know what to do. So yes, this takes a bit of time. I mean, we can just go to welcome here so it looks a bit nicer, but we can maybe we just copy paste this. Okay, so it is downloading and installing now. And currently it shows this line of code. This means we probably have to wait a bit longer still, right? See, so now we learn a bit. Now we learn a bit about that. So now we learn that it's just uploading, so we don't need to be afraid, that something is not working well. Because I was, like this just cache miss was like, ooh, not be careful. And so time and cache status shows the time taken for the evaluation. A cache miss means the package wasn't found in the local cache and had to be downloaded from the internet. Whew. Okay, so it maybe just takes a bit longer. So yes, you'll need to wait a bit longer until the installation completes. Once done, you should see a message indicating the successful. Found 0 vulnerabilities, success. So let's go back to this video here.
For that, select no.
We just repeat quickly 1 or 2 seconds because I missed, like how it opens now the folder.
For the app router, this is very important. You have to select yes. For the import alias, you can select no. That is going to keep the default @ sign. And there we go. Now it's starting to install our application. So just wait a couple of seconds and you will have your app ready. After a couple of seconds, you're going to get a message similar to this, saying a success and that it has created a project called AI SaaS or whatever you named it in your command at this following location. So I'm going to click open.
So apparently now we have this not in the AI SaaS app project, but my app. So we basically have a folder within a folder. So I guess that wouldn't have been really necessary, but whatever. So probably that's the reason or the mistake, let's put it that way, that I made, that I already opened one of the projects. So I basically put this within that one project, but I think it should be fine.
Right here, and I'm going to select AI SaaS.
So right here, I don't know what it did.
Asking us where is our Tailwind answer for that. There we go. Now, so let's get started. Update this. So I'm going to pause the video. There we go. Now, so look slightly different. You can still, for that, select no.
Okay.
For the app router, this is very important. You have to select yes. For the import alias, you can select no. That is going to keep the default @ sign. And there we go. Now it's starting to install our application. So just wait a couple of seconds and you will have your app ready. After a couple of seconds, you're going to get a message similar to this, saying a success and that it has created a project called AI SaaS, or whatever you named it in your command, at this following location. So I'm going to click open right here and I'm going to select.
It does here, open. So we do open folder. And now it should be, let's see. So it should be Windows users, this one. Then we have, where do we have this here? This one, and then we have this one out now. So let's see. Okay, that doesn't look that bad. So let's see what it tells us, if this is what we find in, like what we find in this tutorial as well.
AI SaaS right here. And there we go. Now I'm inside.
Okay, so it has app. It has this as well, node modules, public, ESLint to JSON, git ignore, next env, next config, package, post CSS, readme, tailwind, ts config. Looks like it has everything that it has
of that folder. But before I start this application, I want to run the rest of the commands followed by the Shadcn instructions, because Shadcn is the library we are going to use for styling. So let's go ahead and let's open the terminal again right here.
Okay, so we need to do the terminal again. So we have the terminal here, new terminal. So let's see what it puts here.
And I just have to quickly update this, so I'm going to pause the video. All right, now I have to run the following command.
Okay, now we have to put these this command in there. So we go here and we have to put this command. So npm. So let's see.
npx shadcn UI at latest init. So let's go ahead and run that. npx shad.
Okay, so this guy basically just write this in. So we do this as well. npx shadcn UI
at latest,
and then at latest init
like this. And now we're gonna get a set of.
Okay, press enter. Let's see what happens. Okay, to proceed, we just put yes. So so this guy doesn't have to proceed, doesn't have to click this. So maybe he already has it installed, but we haven't, obviously. It's like a completely new project. So let's just run this. So he already sees in his terminal something, a question that says, would you like to use TypeScript? Recommended. But we are not there yet. So I think we should wait until this is downloaded. And once it downloaded, now we have this question. So let's see what type of thing he puts in there.
Yes. So would you like to use TypeScript? For that, we select yes, because we initialize our Next 13 project.
Okay, so we put yes here.
TypeScript. Now it's asking us for the style. I'm going to use the default style, and I highly recommend you do the same. You can choose.
Okay, so we use default. We follow exactly along here.
York if you want, so use arrow keys up and down to select the option. If you select New York, it's going to look slightly different. You can still follow the tutorial, but your icons are going to come from a different package than what I will be using in the tutorial. So if you don't want that confusion, just choose default and press enter. Now for the base color, you can select any color you want. It doesn't really matter. It won't affect the project, but it will look a little bit different than mine. So for mine, I'm going to choose slate.
Okay, so he chooses slate, so we also choose slate just to make sure, like that we are following along.
It's asking us where our global CSS file is, and this is the correct answer, app/global CSS. Now,
okay, app/global CSS is the same that he has there as well. So let's just go on. Would you like to use CSS variables for colors?
I'd like to use CSS variables for colors. Select yes as well.
Okay, also yes.
It's asking us where is our Tailwind config. It's at the root folder named exactly like this, so press enter.
Okay, so we press enter.
For that, and configure the import alias for components. This looks fine. I want it to look
okay, so we leave this
like that, and you can press enter for this.
Okay.
And lastly, it's asking us whether we are using server components. Since you're using the app router, the answer for that is yes.
Okay, we keep it yes.
And now it's asking us to confirm all of those options. So we pretty much didn't change absolutely anything. You can just press enter through all of these options. And now just press Y.
Okay, now we press Y.
Now it's going to initialize Shadcn UI inside of your project. There we go. Just like that, it has added Shadcn UI. And
okay, so we are installing dependencies, and then apparently it has installed like this Shadcn whatever UI, which apparently is for user interface, I think. So it's basically for the design of the website. Let's see.
You can go ahead and run npm run dev.
Okay, so now it says we should do npm run dev. Okay, so now my app dot 0. Okay, ready in 9.4 seconds. I have no clue what this means, but like these two first lines there, like the my app dot 0.1.0 dev and next dev is the same thing that we see in this video. So let's see what this guy is like coming up here.
And your project is running on localhost 3000.
Okay, for me it says ready in 9.4 seconds, which means it's apparently not yet ready, because what it does for this guy is that it says ready started server on 0.0.0.0 and then 3000 and then the URL. So basically the URL for us to be able to, then basically see what's going on in the server. Or not on the server, I'm not sure, but like basically see how the app looks like. And it also says like an event compiled client and server successfully in 132 milliseconds. And for us, nothing basically happened yet. So let's quickly ask. So we just want to have this one. It says something. It says the local host 3000. But let's quickly still ask if it says ready in 9.4 seconds means we have to wait, or is it done with the command? So probably we have to wait, but this okay, so basically it says that it's already done. The only thing is it looks differently for us than it does for this guy. So we can say, okay, thanks. but in the tutorial I follow, the outcome is additionally including the following lines and info. So we can say ready, started server on 0.0.0.03000 URL http.localhost and the line below event compiled client and server successfully in 132 milliseconds, 20 more modules. Do I need this lines as well, or is my answer and the completion of the task all fine and I can go ahead with the app development now? Okay, let's see. But what we can do is that we can basically open this, what we just saw here. I kind of oversaw this, so the local one here, this one. So what we do is we open a new window here and we put this in. We see what happens. Probably not that much because we haven't coded anything. And yeah, well, it's loading. So there's not that much happening, to be honest. So let's see. Okay. The output you're seeing in your terminal and the slightly different output mentioned in the tutorial both indicate that your Next.js application is up and running correctly. The difference in the output can be due to several reasons, like differences in Next.js versions, the specific configuration of the project, or even the way logging is handled in different environments. Here's a breakdown. Ready, started, server, okay, that the Next.js development server has started and is listening to all networks interfaces. This is standard for a Next.js app. The mention of is the URL where you can access. Event, this line signifies that both the client-side and server-side parts of your Next.js application have been compiled successfully with the time taken and the number of modules processed. This is a normal part of the build process and confirms that your app has compiled without errors. In your case, since you see the message ready in and the local, it means your development server is running fine. The absence of the other lines mentioned from the tutorial doesn't indicate a problem. Different versions of Next.js and different development environments can lead to slightly varied console outputs. Therefore, you can confidently proceed with the app development as long as you can access your application and it updates as you make changes to your code. Your development environment is set up correctly. If you encounter any issues or errors, those will be typically displayed in the terminal of the browser console. Okay. Apparently this works. It's a bit slow, but it works. So I think we can proceed. Then we are done here. Oh, see. Now it compiled more things. So apparently it was not yet ready. Now it is. Seems it has not been ready 100% yet, right? Okay. Interesting. I'm just a bit, confused that I can't put in something in the terminal right now because it's basically still loading, but let's see what this guy says.
So I'm going to click on this link right here and I'm going to show you how your project looks. So I'm going to expand the screen and you should see something like this. So now let's go ahead and let's quickly clean up our application because there is a lot of...
Okay, so basically this guy now says, okay, this all this compiling is happening with him as well. And that the application that we see here is actually looking good. So yeah, it's looking good. It's exactly how it should be looking. So that's the reason why we can now, so he puts us a bit like on these different elements here. So I'm not sure if I want to do this because I guess like so small, But yeah, so he now says, okay, let's clean up the application. So that's what we will be doing now.
Inside of here that we don't actually need. So I'm going to collapse everything, and
okay, so apparently we do this.
You can see we have the app folder where
we have the app folder.
Most of our routes, I mean all of our routes, are going to be. We have the
app, he says all of our routes will be here. We will find out, I'm not sure.
Which are currently empty, but this is where the components from Shadcn are going to appear.
Okay, so he says the components, it's empty, but there will be the Shadcn components coming in here. Probably you hear this, but I just doubled it if you might not hear it.
We'll have the lib folder, which was generated by Shadcn UI, and we're going to use this to merge Tailwind classes. I'm going to explain that when we come to that part. And the rest is just the configuration for the project. So let's...
Okay, so lib is relevant also for the Tailwind and I think for the Shadcn. Everything else is just additional info.
Inside of the app folder.
Okay, so now we go for the app.
Let's take a look at what we have here. So we have two important...
Okay, so apparently we have this page and we have the layout, and I think he says these two are important. And okay, maybe because he does that as well, so let's do that as well here. So we put our Node.js here, but this gets like so small. I'm not sure about that, but well. So at least we see part of the app here. And for that reason, then we see, you know, like part of what's going on while we do some programming.
Files page and layout.tsx. Our layout.tsx can stay pretty much the same.
Okay, so he says layout can pretty much stay the same. I have no clue, right? We're just following along. So for me, this is all like really new. I mean, I now did this very tiny full stack app where I already got some ideas on how to, you know, like create a full stack app, but like in a very basic way. And this is obviously a completely different project and a way more complex project. Otherwise, this video wouldn't be like 5.5 hours. And also, you know, it's so long, and it basically means that, yes, I need to be able to bring this to life, and probably these, when it takes like 5.5 hours for this guy, then it will probably take 20 hours for myself. So it will be roughly a half week to a week until we will be done with this project. But I hope that this project will give us a lot more leverage to really understand how to build those apps, and then allow for more complex projects and to a better understanding of how to use AI tools, and also how to develop those AI tools, that they're not just, you know, like ChatGPT and we do like some tiny things, but we better understand also about the APIs. We better understand how to connect them to data banks. And I want to do some additional things, some additional projects that I have in mind, and that you probably have in mind as well, that might be a bit more complex. And I think that this project gives a very good leverage point of understanding, okay, what's possible and how to do it. And maybe we can even include the upvote app in that app that we are creating, but maybe not. Let's see. But for now, we basically did this whole thing now for 11 minutes. 11 minutes out of 5 hours and 33 seconds. And I think I already probably talked for an hour already with you, or at least half an hour. So you can see we will take a long time for that one.
For now, we can change that later. But now in page...
Okay, now let's go for page TSX.
What I want to do is I want to clean everything inside of the return function.
Okay, he says he want to clean everything inside of the return function, which basically is, we do this first ourselves. Oh, okay. Now says main, so I'm not sure. Let's go back here. So it says return, and then it says this thing, so probably that's the return, the whole thing, but let's see if he means this exactly the same way.
Go ahead and go to the top, all the way to the bottom, and just clean everything inside.
Okay, so he want to keep the return, but he want to clean everything else in between. So we cut this all out. So probably that's all the inside here. Expression expected, yeah, that's exactly how it puts here as well. It looks exactly the same for him.
Also remove this import.
Okay, he says also remove the import. And then we have only the export default function home, and we have the return here. So this is exactly, and we have this one. So that's exactly what we see here now.
You can just write a paragraph, hello.
Okay, so he says just let's write a paragraph. And we put this like really famous, right, like this hello world in here. So I guess that's just a placeholder.
AI SaaS, like that.
Ah, now we do it differently. Hello AI SaaS App. That's actually good because I don't want to see the hello world anymore. It's like everywhere, and it feels for me I'm always starting as a total beginner.
There we go. Look at this. It's right here. Hello AI.
Okay, why is this? Maybe I have to do file save, and maybe I have to upload this. Ah, see? Hello AI SaaS App. Wow, we are like so great. It feels like, okay, really baby steps.
Yes, but the font looks kind of small. Let's see if we can increase it using Tailwind. Go ahead and add a class name.
Okay, so now he says let's do Tailwind for more, how do you say this, for a higher font size. So we will give this thing a class. I just follow along, right?
Text that.
Okay, so he says do this class name equals, and then we put text
6XL.
Okay, text 6XL.
There we go. Now the text is much.
Okay, so let's see. Oh, nothing really happened. I feel it got even smaller. Okay, whatever, we just leave it as it is now.
Much larger. And let's try and change the color. Text green. That.
Okay, now we do within here text green
500.
500. Maybe we have to do file save. Oh, okay. So probably the reason is why it didn't work is that we would have, like first save it and then we can refresh and then we see it here. Okay, so this basically works. This is interesting, but I guess that we will change that later.
There we go. So our Tailwind is successfully set up. Before we move on.
Okay, so that's what he says. Okay, let's just check if Tailwind is set up successfully.
Next part, I want to show you how easy it is to add components from Shadcn to our project. So I'm going to go back in here.
Okay, so you now want to show components. So we have to go back to this next CN thingy here. This is like so full here. I think we don't need this. And we don't need this. So we just need to clean a bit, and I think we don't need this neither. I don't want to have this here. Look, here's my presentation. We don't want to have this one. Yeah, so now I think we're just a bit more cleaner. So now we have Next.js here and we can now see them. So I think that's way better. But he want to now talk about how we can create those components.
Zoom out a little bit.
Okay, he says zoom out. Well, we just do this differently. We just open it here.
Go all the way down to the components in the sidebar. And one of the components we are certainly going to need is the button component.
Okay, he says let's use a button.
And right here is the command we have to use to add it. But one cool thing about Shadcn UI.
Okay, so he says that's the command to add this button, and then he talks further.
Is that you can also manually add it if you want to.
Okay, he says we can also manually add this.
So you don't have to use the CLI. Why am I choosing Shadcn and why not Chakra or Material UI Kit or all of these other amazing CSS frameworks? Well, the reason I'm using Shadcn UI is because it works in a different way. Shadcn UI is not a component library. Instead, it is just a I don't know exactly what is the correct phrase for that, but what it allows us to do is to keep the components inside of our components folder. Usually when we use Material UI or Chakra, we have no access to the components. We can import them and we can edit them using the props they've given us, but we have no access to the actual code that the way those components are working. They are in node modules, but with Shadcn UI, they're going to be directly in our components folder, so we can modify them in any way we want. So let's test this out. I'm going to go ahead and click copy.
Okay, so it goes back to CLI. So basically what it said, I'm not sure if we heard what he said, but it basically says that this is nice because we have in the components piece here. So we basically have the code, and otherwise we wouldn't have the code. And with this one, we have the code and we can directly adapt the code. So he says basically copy this one.
So I advise you that every time I am on the Shadcn UI page, I advise you to do the same, because there are some parts that we cannot install as easily as this, but we're going to have to copy a code snippet. So I just want you to be on the same page as I am, so it's easier for you to follow this tutorial. So I'm going to copy this npm command right here. And
okay, so he says copy this npm command. We have that. And then he goes.
I'm going to go into my
okay, then he goes into his terminal. I think we are in our terminal, but it's still loading. I think we can just add a new one.
right here. You don't have to shut it down, but I will, because I'm using only one terminal. And I'm just going to expand this a little bit, and I'm going to paste this command.
Okay, so this one is still loading, right? So I'm not sure if I can still put, I can already put something in here. Oh, it says 9 problems, interesting. Let's see if we can just okay, interesting. Okay, let's just put this in and see if we can do this next to it. Okay, no, we don't want to have this in here. So now let's see if this works.
So the command is npx shadcn-ui at latest add button, and I'm going to press enter like this. And now it's asking us whether we are ready to install that. So just press Y, and there we go. It's installing the button inside of our project.
Okay, I'm not sure if this worked, because basically it says it's still loading, and it's still loading this one, so it feels like it's just very slow. So I'm not sure. I think we have to wait here, or maybe we have to stop. I just don't really know. I just know that right now nothing is happening, and we have not yet installed it, and we need to have it installed, so we will have to wait. So see, this is still loading. Maybe we also have to put this then in the other terminal. And I'm not sure if this is working, so we kick this out again, and we just wait for this one to be ready. But maybe we do a new one. And maybe now let's try this. Okay, add button. It seems really easy, right? The problem is nothing happens. Okay, I don't want to let you wait too long. So that's a good question what we do now. Maybe we ask ChatGPT again why it takes like ages. Okay, so let's do this. So we can say, hi there, in my terminal node, there is still compiling going on, not allowing me to write anything in the terminal. So I opened a new one, PowerShell, and added the code npx Shadcn UI at latest at button. And in the line below it shows 2 arrows, but nothing more, and I cannot add anything, and it also does not show me that it is loading. Is that normal behavior? Do I miss something? Do I have to wait for the other terminal to finish loading? Can I put the code in a second PowerShell terminal? And why is it not loading or showing me any information about the installation process? Okay, so let's see what ChatGPT tells us. Okay, I have a couple of issues. That's great. Okay, maybe I just have a bad internet connection. Okay, so basically what does it tell us? It says, it sounds like you're encountering a couple of different issues with your terminal and the npx Shadcn UI latest add button command. Let's address these issues one by one. Continuous compiling in the first terminal. It's normal for the Next.js development server to continuously compile and update as you make changes to your project. This shouldn't prevent you from using other terminal windows or tabs for different tasks. You don't need to wait for the first terminal to finish if it's just running the development server. You can minimize it and let it run in the background. It's perfectly fine to open a new terminal window or tab to run additional commands while your development server is running in another terminal. This is a common practice in development workflows. Okay, that's good to know. Issues with npx. If you're not seeing any output or progress after running the command, there might be a few reasons. Network issues. The command might be trying to fetch packages from the internet. If there's a network issue or slow connection, this could delay the response. Yeah, but this one also gave us like a very quick answer, right? So probably that's not only the issue. Command syntax or package issues. There might be an issue with the command syntax or the package. Shadcn UI might not be responding as expected. It's possible that the package name is misspelled or not functions intended. I mean, we did copy paste, so I would say that's not the problem. Shadcn terminal not responding. Sometimes the terminal can become unresponsive. This could be due to system resource issues or software glitches. Okay. Troubleshooting steps. Check your internet connection. Okay, let's go. This is stable. Verify the package name. Make sure it's the correct name and that it's available on npm. We did this. Try a different terminal. However, if PowerShell is not responding, try using the command prompt or another terminal like Git. Okay, let's do this. So no, that's not the right one. So let's do another copy paste again. npm. Then terminal, we close this one and we add a next one and we do command prompt. And we put this whole thing in here. And let's see what happens in Node. So that's another node. Oh, look, this looks way better. Okay, it seems like we solved the issue. Thank God we have ChatGPT, because otherwise I would have been lost. Probably there would be other options as well, but now, okay, it says done. It doesn't ask for any kind of components and dependencies, but maybe it just does it automatically. So I think we can go on.
I'm going to run npm run dev again.
Okay, now it says npm run dev again. Okay, my app 0.1.0, port 3000 is in use, trying. Okay, but we have this already in use. Okay.
Let's see if we can actually use this button now. So,
okay, so basically, yeah, we opened this in a new terminal, but this dev doesn't make sense because we already have it running in this other node with a 3000. We don't want to change that.
has happened in our project.
Okay, so let's go to the project.
Refresh right here.
Okay, let's do file, save, and then refresh the whole thing. Interesting.
Not much has changed. We still have.
Okay, but this is exactly the point. Okay, now we have to ask this thingy. Guy said, try running npm one dev again, and now I encountered that issue and the app that is running in localhost 3000 disappeared. Is it because it now suggests 3000? And how can I get back to it, or was it a mistake to put the command npm one dev in the new node terminal window where I added the Shadcn UI button? Okay, so now we have port conflict. Interesting. Okay, when you run while an instance of the server is already running on the default port, Next tries to start the server on the next available port, which is likely. If your server is if you want to run it back, you need to stop the current running server on that port. Go to the terminal where your first command is running. Okay, ctlc, so let's try this. Okay, so let's now say file, save. Let's try if this works again. Okay. Okay, so we close this as well. And then we do npm one dev. Okay, so now we have it again. And now we do file save, and let's go back here. Okay, it took us a long time in the beginning as well, so let's wait. Maybe it just takes a bit of time. Ha, here we go. Okay, so now we have it back. And we can now check if we also installed this button and this worked, because we installed the button here in this cmd command here with the button. So let's go and check that and check this, what this guy does here.
The Hello AI SaaS. But let's take a look at our components folder right here.
Okay, so he says, let's look at the components folder, and we see we have a button.
you can see that now we have a new folder inside called UI, and inside of that folder we have a button.tsx. And now if you look inside, you can see that we have...
Okay, that's big for a button, but it's a button.
This amazingly strictly typed written and area written button component. So this is a much more advanced button than what would usually be if we were writing it ourselves. And I think that's absolutely amazing. And what's cool about it is that you can rename absolutely anything you want inside. So whatever you don't like, you can rename. So you have complete ownership of your component system. That's why I really like Shadcn UI. So we have just added this button, and technically we never have to look at it again. You can just close this altogether. And let's go back into our home right here. And I'm going to...
Okay, so he wants us to go back to our page TSX, our home here, and probably check out the button.
place this, and I'm actually going to use that button. So I'm going to write button like this.
Okay, so he says button.
I'm going to import it from add/components/UI/.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to put here import and then this thingy and then this thingy closing, and in the middle we have the button, and then we have from add/components/UI/button. Oh, and we have to put this whole thing here in these marks, and then we do this. And then we put here button
Like this, and make sure you destructure it like that. And I'm going to write click me.
Okay, and then we do this, and then we can say click me.
Like this. And I'm just going to...
Okay, and then we go there to our app. We must do file save again. Interesting. Okay, it says basically, let's remove this thingy. Okay. It says export default function home, return. I think we have to put the button here. File save. The return here, file save. Okay, so this is so important. You see, so if the button is exactly under the return, it doesn't work. But the button that is like one indented, so one step, then we have the button here. So that works perfect. So easily we have a button without doing that much.
Increase my zoom a little bit so you can see better. There we go. Look at the button right here. And let's see how easy it is to change the variant, for example.
Okay, so apparently now we can change a variant. So we can say variant.
Go ahead and say this.
Okay, variant equals
destructive, like this.
Destructive. So it says destructive. So we add destructive. We say file save, Control S. Oh, this goes fast. So now we have Control S. So now we have a different button.
There we go. Now it's red, and we can use that for when we are deleting some stuff. And I just want to show you how cool it is. For example, you can go back into...
Okay, so he says it's very cool. So let's go back to components.
Components UI button.
Okay, let's go to the button.
And this is the destructive style.
Okay, so this is the destructive style. Beaky destructive, text is foreground hover. Okay.
You're using right now. Let's say you don't like the word destructive. You can go ahead and change that to danger. So you don't have to...
Okay, so I could also use this whole thing and call it danger or something.
Please, I'm just demonstrating now. You can change that, and you can see now our code is not working. And you can see I have a TypeScript error here. So I can change it to danger right here, and there we go. Now it.
Okay, so it basically says what we could do is we could change this to danger. If we do this, great thing, but then Control S for saving, abbrechen. What did we do now? No, that's not what I wanted. File, edit, undo, edit, undo, edit, undo. What did we do now? I don't know what that is. Okay, so basically now, if we do file save and then reload this, okay, it kind of still works. But it kind of says when we put the page here for danger, then it should disappear, but we just leave this now. Destructive. Okay, file, save.
So that's what this component library, well, it's not a component library, but that's what Shadcn UI offers us. I think it's really cool that we have this kind of customability here. So just make sure you bring this back to destructive. I'm not going to change the button component in any way, but I'm just going to bring this back. So destructive, like that. And I just want to show you that you also have a couple of other props like size. So you can change the size to large for a.
Okay, so apparently that's cool. So you can also, you can do descriptive. You can say size equals, and then it offers you these options. So you can say large, and then we can, like file save again. We reload this, and now we see it's getting bigger.
And now the button is a little bit larger like that. Great. So this is how we are going to add components in our project, and then we're going to style them, and we're slowly going to create our UI. Great start. You did an amazing job. And now we are ready to go ahead and start developing some other stuff.
Okay, so now he says we learned how to do this. So now we have these components. We know how to bring those components into our app. And well, that's it for now. And now we do other stuff. So let's see what other stuff we are doing. We now finished 16 minutes of the whole video. Great.
Let's continue with the structure of our project. So I'm going to go back inside of my.
Okay, you want to do structure of the project and want to go back to app
folder, and I'm going to go inside global
CSS. That's looking interesting.
.css right here. So everything that you see right here has actually been generated using Shadcn UI. But this is fine. I just want to add one thing here, and that is the height for our HTML and our body.
Okay, you want to add the HTML for our height and our body. And he says everything else that is that is created here is basically created based on Shadcn.
Go ahead and write this.
And he says, okay, we do now something here.
HTML,
okay, HTML, comma, body
and root element of.
Okay, body, comma, root. Oh no, differently. Root. Like this.
This, and I just want to write height 100.
Okay, and he says height 100%.
And that's not going to change anything right now, but it is going to help us in the future. Great. And now I want to go back inside of my layout.
Okay, now you want to go to layout.
CSX file right here. And I want to change the title of my
Okay, here, title, create next app.
application to Genius. And
okay, do we call it, he calls it Genius. We call it, do we also call it Genius? I'm not sure about that. Do we call it Human AI Lab? No, I don't think so. We do genial. What do you think of genial? Like genial in German. Or we can say great hook. Great AI. We just do great AI. Maybe we have to note this down somewhere. We know how it's called, but I mean, we have it here as well. I'm still sometimes pen and paper person.
Change the description to AI platform. Like,
okay, generate my create next app. So we want to give it a different description. So we say great AI, and we say description, empower you with AI.
but with a capital AI, like this. And now you can see that my title, right?
So what it basically does, we don't really see this next. We see it. So basically, let's save this and do this one here. And now what we see is when we go over here, so we see that it's called Great AI. And yeah, so basically that's what we see.
Has changed to Genius. Previously, it was, it was create next app. But after we do the changes, it now says Genius. Great. So what I want to do now is I want to organize my routes in a specific way.
Okay, he says he want to organize his routes in specific ways.
Before I do that, I want to give you a quick explanation of how routes actually work inside of Next. So right here, we have this page.tsx file, but how do we know that that is located right here at the slash? Well, that's because if you have a page.tsx plainly put inside of your app folder, that is going to result in the URL slash, or just your domain like this. But what happens if I create a new folder, for example, called test, and inside I create a new file, page.tsx? I'm going to quickly go ahead and write test page right here, and I'm going to write a div test page like this. So make sure you have the test page and export default test page at the end. It's important that you use export default. Now, how do I find this page? Where is this? Well, it's located at /test in your URL. Right here. So now we know that every folder we create inside of the app folder, which has the page.tsx inside of it, is a route on its own. But there is also a way that you can use folders and page.tsx without actually affecting the URL. This is a cool feature because sometimes we want to organize our routes in folders, but not necessarily change the URL structure. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shut down my application because we're going to do some changes in here. So I recommend you shut it down as well.
Okay, so now it basically told us to put clear. Okay, that was now quick. He tried to explain something. What we do is now saying in the terminal, okay, thanks. So this guy now told me to shut down the application and put clear in the terminal, but the terminal is still compiling and I cannot enter clear in the terminal. How do I clear and shut it down anyways? Okay, let's see what ChatGPT has to say. Oh, we had this before, right? The Control-C. So now we have Control-C again. Okay, let's do Control-C. Okay, now we have this closed.
So let's go ahead. Now if you refresh, nothing's gonna work. But
okay, now let's refresh. Nothing should work. Okay, doesn't work. Perfect. So this is how it apparently should be.
Fine. First thing I want to do is I want to delete the test page. Great. And what we're going to do now is something called route groups. So right here,
okay, so it wants us to do route groups.
On the right side, I have the explanation for that.
Okay, so it is a next. Apparently, you have to check where it is. Not here. Apparently not here.
So route groups is a specially named folder which does not affect the URL. So you can go ahead and read more about that. Just type in route groups next.js and you will.
Okay, so he says, let's just do this, route groups next.js. Okay. Okay, it takes for ages, but we just ignore this. We just listen to what this guy is doing.
Find this exact documentation. You can see the convention. The convention is to write the folder inside of parentheses. That way, it's not going to be affecting the URL. So you can see that right here they have a folder called marketing, but the URL is just /about. Nowhere in this URL.
Okay, so what he basically says is you see this here marketing in brackets. And because we have marketing in brackets, then the about section is like about. Without this marketing. So because we just put this in the brackets, it doesn't put like /marketing/about or something, but just /about.
You see the marketing. That's because they are just using it to structure your files. And it's exactly what I want to do as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back inside of my app folder right here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new folder.
Okay, so what he's doing is he's going to app, and he's put this, and he put new folder
called dashboard, like that. And inside of that dashboard, well, I made a mistake here. Right now, this is affecting the URL. So we have to rename this. Right click, go ahead and rename this, and make sure you add parentheses.
Okay, so for the dashboard, we basically put parentheses like this.
Around the dashboard like that. Now, it's not affecting the URL. So what I want to do now is go ahead and create another
okay, now we put new folder
group inside called routes.
Okay, so now he says we do this. So this is also not affecting the URL.
What this is going to hold is all of the routes for our AIs. So inside we're going to have a route for image generation, video generation, our general dashboard, code generation, and settings. So inside we can actually go ahead and write the route which is going to affect the URL. This route is going to be called dashboard.
Okay, and now we put new folder, and now we put dashboard, and now this will affect
that.
The URL.
So this one won't matter for the URL, neither will the routes, but this one will. And inside, I'm going to go ahead and create.
Okay, and now inside new file.
Page.tsx.
Okay, and now it's page.tsx. So basically, this is now a page that is where the root is basically dashboard, but the dashboard and the roots, those two things don't matter because they are not part of the URL, but the dashboard will be. So basically /dashboard is then the root and the page.tx is it. Yeah.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my old page.tsx that is inside of the root of the app folder. So go inside of here and.
Okay, so you want to go back to this page.tsx.
Just copy everything inside.
Copy everything.
And paste it in this new dashboard.
To paste it in the new dashboard page.
Page.tsx, write this. And you can rename this to dashboard page.
Okay, and he put here the dashboard page.
Like that. So just make sure you export the default. You will sometimes see me using the function, and sometimes you will see me using the this const dashboard page, the arrow function, and I will export default dashboard page. It really doesn't matter. It's gonna have the same effect, it's just your preference. Of course, there are differences between arrow functions and plain functions, but that is not the topic of this tutorial. But just to ease up some confusion, it doesn't really matter what you use, but you can always follow exactly what I do so you have the same result. So for the dashboard page, I'm gonna write const that.
Okay, so he does some changes here and he says, okay, there are some reasons why he do it that way, but we just do it as he goes along. So basically constant dashboard page equals equals this thingy and then equals like this and this. And then we have this return blah blah, and then here it puts export default dashboard page like this. So now this is what he's basically doing. So let's quickly oh no. So easy, we have made a mistake. Const, so basically now it looks better, right? Now it doesn't show us weird things. Const, the return is below there, the button is below there, there's this thingy, that's fine. Constant dashboard page equals these brackets. Then return this button there, and then we have this bracket, and then we have export default dash. You see, this is like dashboard. Dashboard page, dashboard page, dashboard page, right, great.
Dashboard page, arrow function, and export default the dashboard page. The naming of the component does not matter for the URL. You can name it whatever you want, but I like the convention of using the entity name and then capital P page. Beautiful. And now that we have this, I actually want to remove this root page because we don't need it.
Okay, he now removes this thingy. So we basically will be deleting this. Move to recycle bin. Because we have this page and that's fine.
Move that to trash. Great. And what happens now? Well, we have a problem because this is a route / dashboard, but we don't have our / route. We don't have the root. So let's go ahead and create that. For that, I'm going to create another route group called landing.
Okay, now he does app, new folder, landing.
That's going to be our landing page if you remember from the intro of this tutorial. And inside, go ahead and create another page.
Okay, now you want to have a new file, page tsx. So this is supposed to be the, what did we send to say? The homepage.
.tsx. I'm going to go ahead.
Okay, page tsx. So here we have to again put stuff in.
And create the landing.
So he put constant landing page equals these brackets. And then, no, not this thingy. And then here this bracket. No, not this bracket. This bracket. And then we put here the return, and then within the return,
like this, div land.
Okay, in the return we put div, and in the div we put landing page probably or something.
Page, and I'm gonna write in parent.
Okay, and then
this is here unprotected.
Okay, and he put here unprotected. Okay, constant landing page equals this, and then we have the return, and then within the return we have the div, and we have the landing page, and what we are missing is basically here we need a semicolon. And then we need, no, not there. Sorry, guys. Export default landing page this way.
Every user, whether they are logged in or not, are going to be able to see this landing page. Great, so now that we have these two.
Okay, so basically unprotected means everyone sees this.
Let's go ahead and let's run our project and let's see.
Okay, now you want to run this again.
If we made any mistakes.
Okay, now it says npm run dev.
If everything is working as expected. So I'm going to refresh this right here.
Okay, now he refreshes this one. Where is it? The localhost here. I'm not sure if we have to file save or if this is not necessary, to be honest. File save, and then we do refresh. Let's see, maybe. Landing page unprotected.
I'm at /test, so I got a 404. So I'm going to go back to my root.
So it also said, you do test. 404, this page could not be found. And there we are.
And I should see the landing page right here. Perfect. Great. So how do I see this dashboard? Let's see. This is not affecting the URL. Routes is not affecting the URL either, but dashboard is. That means that all I have to do to visit this page, I'm going to change this now. I'm going to write a paragraph saying...
Okay, he wants to have for the dashboard page. He doesn't want to have a button anymore. He want to have a paragraph. So I think we can just write this. What does he want to have there?
Dashboard page.
Okay, he just want to have here the dashboard page.
So in order to visit this page, all I have to do is write /.
Okay, let's see. /. Okay, why is it? Oh, we have like one too much. Okay, that's the reason why it doesn't work. Save. Dashboard page. Seems to work.
Dashboard like this. There we go. Now I have the dashboard page, but on the root I have the landing page. And I just want to add here protected. So
okay, and the dashboard page is protected. I mean, this is just within the text, right? Nothing special here.
We authorized users, and you can remove the import per button. We're not gonna need it now.
Okay, we remove this, as he said. We don't need the button. So, file, save.
So only users who are authorized are going to be able to see the dashboard page. For now, of course, that is not true because we have not added authentication. So that's what we're going to do in the next part. But for now, this is great. You've done a great job so far. So let me just recap what we've done. We have removed the page.tsx inside of our app folder, and we've moved it
instead of 6 hours. I was just thinking, I got completely confused that I'm still live in thinking, okay, how long do we need? But let's go on with the project.
Landing page.tsx, but because landing is inside of parentheses, that means that we're using the route group convention. Right here you can see it's in the parentheses, meaning it's not affecting the URL. It's just a folder where we decided to keep our root page for easier structure. And then in dashboard we used a bit of a different structure. So again, we used route group, so it's not affecting the URL, but we did not put page directly inside. Instead, we created another route group called routes. That's because besides dashboard, we're going to have many folders inside of this route. And inside of dashboard, right here, we're going to have another file called layout. So this way, we have structurally separated our routes from our other stuff. Don't worry if this is a bit confusing. It's going to get easier and easier the more you work with Next. Now it's time to add authentication to our project.
Okay, now he talks about authentication, so that's what we will be doing next.
So before we start anything, what I want to do actually is shut down our application.
Okay, so you want to shut down the the application again. So we do Control C. We say yes, enter.
Get any hot reloading errors. So I'm going to shut it down, and I recommend you do the same. Great. And we're going to add authentication using Clerk. So you can either visit.
Okay, so we now use Clerk. I mean, this is the sponsor of his video, but we will do Clerk because, yeah, he's doing it and we just need to understand how it works. So this is Clerk, apparently.
Clerk.com, or visit the link in the description, or just use Clerk Auth right here, and it's the first result on Google. Great. So go ahead and find the sign in or sign up button depending on whether you already have an account. So I'm going to guide you through this process. You can GitHub or Google or regular registration. I'm going to use Google for this one. So I'm going to pause the video a bit and register.
Okay, so we need to register. Okay, we do this with an email address. So now you see all my email addresses. I use this one. Couldn't find your account, yeah, sure, because I haven't signed up yet. Okay, so now we see my email addresses. The password, yeah, okay, you can't see that. I can't use a strong one because you will see this. So let's hide that. And let's just use one. No, we need to hide that so you don't see this. So now we have a password. We click on continue. And now it says verification code. So now you see quickly my email account. No, that's the wrong one. So you don't see that one. We quickly need to go to Outlook. Okay, that doesn't work. So we will quickly stop the video.